welcome to my channel. Today I have Brittany. Now, Brittany, I've got on your Facebook Reading Tutor. Is that your name?
No, that's not my name, but that's like my name on Facebook. But my real name is Brittany Richey.
Brittany Richey.
So...
Okay, yeah, I just went to say Reading Tutor and I thought, you know what, I got a funny feeling that's not her name. So we have with us Brittany Richey, and today we're going to talk about her vegan journey, her vegan story, and her vegan healing story. She has such an interesting story. She shared it with me via messenger, recorded messages, and the more I was listening, the more interested I became in her story. So tell me, Brittany, how long ago you became vegan and why did you choose to become vegan?
So it's been about 6 years now, and it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. I never in a million years thought I would go vegan. Well, I take that back. I thought maybe someday in the distant future I might try to go vegan, but I always thought it was really hard and that it was like extreme and that vegans were annoying, which some of them I still think are a little bit annoying, but I always tell people I'm one of the cool vegans. I try not, sometimes it's kind of sad that I try not to even say the V word because people get so, like triggered, or there's like a bad connotation surrounding that word, which is unfortunate because I really love being vegan, and I still love it 6 years later. But yeah, I never thought that I would go vegan, and it was the crazy turn of events that caused me to go vegan. The stars kind of had to align. There were a lot of different things that finally led me to do it. But so the main thing that happened was I had to get my wisdom tooth pulled, and when they cut into my mouth, they accidentally cut the nerve that goes to my tongue. So they completely severed the nerve, and then after that, the whole left side of my tongue was completely numb, but at the same time burned really bad, like pins and needles at all times. It felt like I was like dragging my tongue like on a hot sidewalk, but every second of the day. And nerve pain, I had no idea was that bad, but it's so bad. Like you can't escape from the pain. From the time you wake up in the morning until the time you go to sleep, you feel it. So I was, I first of all wanted to sue the dentist, but I went online and I found support groups, and apparently it's a very common thing that happens. And all of these other people had the same exact story as me, and they said they tried to sue and they couldn't because you sign your life away, and it's one of the risks you take when you go to the dentist. But if I would have known that, I might not have gotten it done because it wasn't even bothering me. So, but if you go to the dentist and you have all 4 of your wisdom teeth, they're going to tell you to get them all taken out. So anyway, I was just sleeping all day because that's the only time I could escape from the pain was when I was asleep. And then all I could really do was research cures for nerve pain because, they say there is no cure for nerve pain. And the doctors told me that the best they could do was put me on an antidepressant, which kind of just made me not really care about anything. So I didn't really care about the pain as much, but I could still feel it. And it didn't even really help for the actual pain. And it was giving me nightmares and all of these other side effects. So I stopped taking it, and I just kept on researching all the time. And I came across a lot of articles that said that a vegan diet was good for nerve pain because it's so anti-inflammatory. So at the time I was a little bit vegetarian. I ate a little bit of meat, but I was mostly vegetarian. I always liked vegetables more than I liked meat. My mom told me like when I was a kid, she would put the food in front of me and I would just eat the vegetables and not the meat. So I was eating a lot of cheese at the time. I was eating tons and tons of cheese as a vegetarian. I would spend a lot of money on it too, because if you go to the store, some of the most expensive things at the store are meat and cheese. So I was spending all this money on cheese, and I had read that cheese is actually one of the most inflammatory things you can eat because it's not real, like it's made out of cow's milk, which is technically it's for baby cows. So a lot of our bodies, like 75% of people are actually lactose intolerant, which is a really high percentage, and not a lot of people know that. So And it makes sense, you know, because it's for a baby cow and our bodies don't really recognize it. So it sends out like an inflammatory response. So anyway, I read that the vegan diet was good for nerve pain. And so I was starting to consider it. And I had been watching a lot of documentaries around that time. The Game Changers is a really good one. It's on Netflix. Cowspiracy is also another really good one. What the Health, Forks Over Knives. There's so many good ones out there. I was watching those, so I was like, okay, all right, I don't know, maybe this is a good idea. You know, what do I have to lose? I was desperate because my tongue was just in so much pain, and but I still didn't really want to do it. I thought it was going to be too hard, it was going to be too expensive, and I found out that it wasn't actually more expensive. I mean, it can be more expensive if you eat a lot of processed foods, but like I said, vegetables are some of the cheapest things. So anyway, around the same time, also my brother's pretty funny. he he he's always been like, I don't know, he's always kind of been the problem child, and I've always been like the good kid. But anyway, he did magic mushrooms, and he ended up in a tree. And he said he was having a conversation with the plants and the trees, and that the plants told him that they want to be eaten, and that that's their whole life's purpose, is to provide nourishment, and that they rely on that so that their seeds can be spread, which makes sense. And he also said that animals, on the other hand, don't want to be eaten, and because you can survive without eating them, it's bad karma to eat them and cause so much unnecessary suffering to them. So, and the plants also told him to stop smoking cigarettes. So the next day he stopped smoking cigarettes, cold turkey, and he became a vegetarian and eventually vegan. So I was really inspired by him because he was the biggest meat eater I knew. He always wanted to eat ribs. For his birthday every year, we went and ate ribs, and he, you know, I never thought he would do that. So I was shocked. So I was thinking, okay, well, if he can do it, maybe I can do it. Maybe this is a sign, you know? So I decided to try it, and it was a lot easier than I thought. You know, everybody hears like vegan food and they think it's like some weird food. I'm like, really? You've never had like watermelon? Like you've never had a banana? Like that's vegan, you know? It doesn't have to be anything weird. And when people come to my house, like I have like, you know, little get-togethers or whatever, of course, everything that I make is vegan. And usually everybody loves it and they don't say anything, but every now and then someone will be like, oh, is that vegan? Like, what is that? What is it made out of? I'm like, oh, no worries. It's nothing weird. There's no like secretions from any animals in there. There's no like body parts or anything. It's just vegetables. And so I kind of try to like joke with them about it because everyone thinks vegan food is weird. And I used to think that too. And, you know, here they have all the vegan food a lot of times off in its own section of the grocery store. Mm-hmm. So I never even looked at that section before. I just kind of, you know, glossed right over it.
Not the weird people section.
Yeah. So I think one of the reasons that the plant-based milks have done so well is because they put them right next to the cow milk. Right. And people are like, oh, well, they have all these other milks. Why don't I try almond milk? Or why don't I try, you know, cashew milk? Or there's so many different options these days. They even have like, because I loved cheese, right? So I was like, well, I can't do without cheese. But they have cheese now that's vegan. It's made of like cashew milk or soy milk or whatever. So instead of cow milk. So I tried it and it was a lot easier. And like I said, I always liked vegetables anyway. And so my husband, he basically eats whatever I eat, and he likes everything that I make. He never gives me any problems. So when I went vegan, he basically went vegan with me as well, which I was shocked because everybody else, well, I wasn't really shocked, but everybody else was shocked. They're like, did you like force him to be vegan? I'm like, oh no, he liked it. He wanted to do it. And now he's even more vegan than I am. Like, well, if we go to the like restaurant and they accidentally put cheese or something, I won't send it back because I just know they're going to throw it away and I can't stand to waste food, but he won't eat it. So, or like when we go to like Chipotle, they ask him, do you want sour cream? And he'll be like, oh no, do I look like a baby cow? I'm like, Ryan, you can't, they're not gonna, you got to explain it a little bit more. anyway, so he went vegan too, and he's always had a lot of problems with his stomach. His intestines, he had like a birth defect with his intestines, and it's always given him a lot of trouble since he was a kid. And now it's way better. To the point, his mom even called me and said, I just wanted to thank you because my son's had this problem forever, and we never thought it was going to get better. And he's told me that it's it's so much better now. So it's not 100% better, but it's a lot better than it was. So we both kind of did it for health reasons in the beginning, me for my tongue. And I did notice an improvement with the pain in my tongue after about a week or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kept on looking into it, and I joined all of these groups on Facebook, and I realized there were other reasons why people go vegan too, other than, health reasons, like environmental reasons and, because of the animals. So then that was the reason my brother did it. So there's so many benefits, like I said, with the environment. There are billions of people in the world, millions of people go hungry, and we could feed all of these animals. They always get fed. They get stuffed with food so that they'll be worth more money and they'll be heavier. But and with the food that we use to feed to these animals, we could be feeding the entire world like 3 times over. I think there was a study that said that. So I've always been like very into the environment. So that was a big point for me too. So yeah, and now my tongue, I can go throughout my day and not even notice it hardly as much compared to in the beginning when I was like, I almost wanted to like not be alive anymore. That's how bad it was. It was the worst thing that ever happened. So
I can imagine. I can't even imagine having that pain in my tongue. When you sent me the message originally, I actually had to hold on to my tongue.
Oh.
Well, it's been a phobia of mine since high school. We got taught that if you got a certain sickness, I remember in science class, you would swallow your tongue. And when I learned this, I used to always, as a teenager, because I was that scared of swallowing my tongue. And then when you were telling me this story and I'm listening, I'm like, oh my goodness. So I can't imagine. Thank goodness for the talking tree.
I know, right? Yeah. I think that really was what did it. Yeah. And my brother, he's still, he still hasn't, he went back to smoking cigarettes, but he still doesn't eat any meat or anything like that.
So he didn't completely listen to that tree.
Yeah, he should have listened all the way to the tree, but he made an impact on my life too. And you never know who you can make an impact on. So.
Absolutely, it's that whole domino effect. So your brother, and then you, and then your boyfriend or husband?
My husband, yeah.
Husband,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then your husband. So, I mean, it's pretty amazing stuff, that domino effect and how it changes. Besides your tongue, have you noticed any other healing benefits with being vegan?
I have actually. When I wake up in the morning, my stomach is flat. Like it used to be bloated all the time, and people actually would ask me if I was pregnant, because it looked like I was pregnant. I had like a really big like pooch right there. And now when I wake up in the morning, it's not like that anymore. It's flat, and like my skin cleared up.
Yeah, you got skin.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and I still have dark circles, but they used to be really, really dark. And it's funny because a lot of people think that vegans are like weak and like, sickly looking. But in my experience, my dark circles have gotten better, and I just feel like I have more energy. Like I never really could sleep that well at night. I've always had a little bit of like insomnia, but now I still have that. But when I wake up in the morning, I have more energy. And I feel like I can get right up and start doing things. Whereas before I just wanted to lay in bed and just sleep more. So it's been really, really good all around.
Oh, that's good. And can you tell me also, what do you eat in a day? Like, what does an average day look for? Obviously, I know that we change what we eat from day to day, but can you give us sort of a rough outline of what you eat?
Sure. So in the morning, I've never really been a big morning person, and I've never really liked to eat breakfast that much, and because I'm not really that hungry in the morning. So I kind of just listen to my body and I just eat whenever I'm hungry. And so in the morning, I always make sure I drink a lot of water because I live in the desert and you have to drink lots of water here. And then I mostly just eat fruit in the morning. I've read that fruit takes the least amount of time to digest, and that's why it's best to eat it first before you eat other foods. Because if you eat other things and then the fruit kind of is just sitting on top, waiting for the other stuff to digest, and it kind of starts to ferment a little bit sometimes. So if you eat, it's better to eat the fruit first. So I normally eat just fruit for breakfast. Sometimes my husband likes to eat tofu scramble, which is like scrambled eggs, but it's just tofu and whatever vegetables. So he'll put like onions, peppers, mushrooms. Sometimes we'll put like vegan sausage. It's like, it's non-GMO and the ingredients aren't too bad. It's just mostly made out of pea protein. And we kind of tried to avoid soy because we had heard that it was not good for your hormones and all these things like that. But I've done a lot of research on it since then, and soy actually has what they call phytoestrogen, and phyto means plant. So it doesn't necessarily affect us in the same way that actual animal estrogen affects us. And there's animal estrogen in cow milk and butter and things like that, and like actual cow hormones in there too. So the soy, there are a lot of myths surrounding the soy thing, and so I always try to get the organic ones. At the store, that's all I see are organic, is the organic tofu. And so we'll have a tofu scramble, maybe like a breakfast burrito with like some potatoes. I really love the air fryer. My new thing is the air fryer. I put everything in the air fryer, and it's so fast, and it gets the food nice and crispy. It's like just as fast as the microwave pretty much, but it gets it crispy instead of being like soggy and gross. So we put the potatoes in there, and it gets it nice and crispy. So, and then for lunch, I probably, most of the time I like to eat just more veggies. I like to eat a lot of potatoes. There's this girl on YouTube. Her name's High Carb Hannah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of her, but she eats
a
ton of potatoes and rice.
Yeah.
And so, and she did that, and she lost a lot of weight, which a lot of people think that potatoes are, fattening, but they don't have any fat in them. And, they fill you up. It's kind of hard to eat a lot of them because they fill you up and they, sustain you for a long time. So, or I'll have like salad, and I put a whole bunch of good stuff in the salads. There's this funny meme. It's like how regular people eat salad and then how vegans eat salad. And the vegan salad looked way better than the other salad. It had like all kinds of good stuff in there. And then my mom is actually Lebanese, so I like to eat a lot of Middle Eastern food, which is lucky for me because a lot of Middle Eastern food is already vegan. So I eat a lot of hummus, and tabbouleh is like a parsley salad. It's really good. I even put chickpeas in the air fryer and get them kind of crispy, and put some seasonings on them and put that on the salads and stuff too. There's like a green bean stew that's really good that I like to make. Thai food is really good. I always liked Thai food, so I have that a lot, and with the rice and the vegetables. And I just love it. I actually eat more of a variety now that I'm vegan than I did before. And when I take picture, like everything is so pretty. I just want to take a picture of it. I'm like, oh, it's so colorful. We've got like every color of the rainbow on this plate right here. So I try a lot of new things that I've never would have tried before, like tempeh. I had never even heard of it before, but I love tempeh now. I eat it all the time. I put like, it's like a fermented soy, which I know doesn't sound that appetizing, but it's really good. And I put like buffalo sauce on it and put it in the air fryer, and it's kind of like buffalo wings. It's really good. It has a lot of protein in it too. So yeah, I eat, And, you know, people always ask me, well, can I still eat this? Can I still eat that? And I said, yeah, you can still eat anything you want to eat. There's a vegan version for everything. Just Google vegan blank and it'll come up with whatever it is that you want the recipes for. So like they have ice cream that's made out of almond milk now. They have all kinds of different options at the store. So I like to go to Trader Joe's. That's one of my favorite stores. They have lots of different options there too.
I want to go there one day. Everyone talks about Trader Joe's and I'm like, I want a Trader Joe's.
Yeah, I know. I'm so lucky to be here in Vegas. They have like all the different grocery stores that are really good. So, and Trader Joe's is very affordable. So that's why I like to go there. But yeah, I eat everything. I love all the vegan food.
And do you have an Instagram or a Facebook page where people can find you, Brittany?
I do. My Instagram is Ms. Brittany Tutors, Miss Brittany Tutors. And my Facebook page is Brittany Reading Tutor, because I am a teacher, but now I just do tutoring. I used to teach kindergarten, and then they wanted me to teach 40 kindergartners in one class. So I quit, and now I just do the tutoring, and I love it. So.
Wow, 40 kids, yeah, that's big. That's what they do over here in Vietnam. Lots of kids in a class. It's hard. It's hard work, but I have usually, if there's 40 kids, there's a lot of Vietnamese teachers and they're very strict and the kids don't move. But in a Western society, it'd be very hard. I don't blame you. Now, I will put the links for your Instagram. I will get that off you, and your Facebook. Well, I'm friends with you on Facebook, so I will put those links in there for anybody who wants to connect with Brittany. You've got a wealth of information.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, I think you'd have a great YouTube channel if you got it started. You've got a lot of information, a lot to offer, and your food sounds absolutely delicious. And
yeah, I post a lot of my food on my Instagram.
Yeah, well, I seriously think you should be doing some what I eat. So I'm getting on YouTube because people would be very interested in that, especially Lebanese food, Middle East food, sorry.
Yeah.
I was in the Middle East last year, and some of the food is to die for. Like they had these buffet breakfasts in the morning and just all this marinated vegetables.
Yeah.
This was in Istanbul, and we had the same really in Greece, and then I went to Israel, and just the food, I was just like, oh my God, I gained weight there. I really did, but anyway, I enjoyed it. So now your mum's from the Middle East, and you mentioned that you've been a bit of an influence on your mum. Or your family? How have you been an influence on your family?
Yeah, I have actually. When I first went vegan, I was, posting about it a lot on social media, and my dad was trying to be on a diet at the time, and so one day out of the blue, he sent me a picture of he had found vegan hot dogs at the store. And he fried them up with some onions and peppers, and it looked really good. And he sent a picture, and he was so proud of himself. And I was like, I almost wanted to cry. I was like, wow, I never would have thought my dad would go to the trouble to do that. But so now, and my mom, she's dealing with cancer. And this was like 6 years ago when I first went vegan. And she first found out that she had cancer around that same time. So I was like, Mom, there are lots of studies about the benefits of a vegan diet with cancer. They have a study where they took the blood of vegans and the blood of non-vegans and put cancer cells in there. And the vegan blood actually killed the cancer cells 8 times faster than the other blood. So that was pretty, and so I sent that to her. It was a scientific study, and she was like, okay, all right, well, let me try it. So I had her come stay with me, and I cooked her nothing but vegan food, and she loved it. I guess she was glad she didn't have to cook, probably, but she's always loved vegetables too. She always had a garden in Virginia where we used to live. So she loved it. And now every Thanksgiving, we have Thanksgiving at my house, and we have all vegan Thanksgiving. And at first I was a little apprehensive. I was thinking they would not be into it at all. But the first year they loved it and they ate everything. So I was like, oh my goodness, we're gonna have to do this every year. So I made a whole bunch of stuff. I made like roasted Brussels sprouts. I made mashed potatoes. I just used the unsweetened almond milk. I made like cornbread stuffing, the green bean casserole. I made my own cream of mushroom to go in the green bean casserole. And I made this like roasted cauliflower that actually kind of looked a little bit like a turkey, because I roasted the whole cauliflower and it had like a golden brown like crust on the top with the vegetables around the side of the pan. It was really pretty, and you could cut it up just like a turkey. And now they have these roasts that you could buy in the store. They call it like a celebration roast, and I had one of those, and people loved it. So I was really glad. And so now we have a vegan Thanksgiving, and we have birthday parties, and it's always all vegan, and everybody just like brings a drink. And I always say, don't even worry about bringing anything. And I think, like I said, I think they like that they just don't have to cook too, but they eat it all. And so they've realized that vegan food is not that weird after all. You can still have mashed potatoes. You can still have gravy. I have mushroom and onion gravy. It's really good. And I never really even used to like mushrooms, but I eat them all the time now. And if you chop them up really finely, you can't even really tell that, and they have a good flavor to them. So the mushroom gravy is really good.
Sounds delicious. Again, get that one on YouTube. Okay, and now what do you recommend to people who are sitting on the fence and they're a bit weird about being vegan, because, you know, vegans are weird, vegans are annoying, they don't want to be associated with that whole vegan aspect? What do you recommend to these people?
So like I said, I try to just tell people, like, sometimes I don't even say the word vegan. I just say I don't eat animal products.
Mm-hmm.
And just by saying that, I feel like that puts the idea in their head of, wait a minute, I eat animal product. I eat stuff that comes from an animal. Like, because people don't even think about it sometimes, because they're just conditioned, you know, from the time they're little, that that's what you're supposed to eat. And so, you know, I try to relate to people and tell them I totally get it. I wasn't vegan my whole life. For 27 years out of my life, I wasn't vegan. And, you know, I never thought I would go vegan, but it was the best decision. And I didn't do it overnight. You know, it took me probably about a good month to transition all the way to vegan, because I had all of this food in my freezer and stuff. And like I said, I hate to waste food.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have to be an all or nothing thing either. You know, you don't have to be a strict vegan. Like I said, sometimes I'll eat a little bit of cheese if they put it on top of my food, just because I don't want to waste it. Or if my mom makes something that happens to have a little bit of egg in it, I might have a little bite just so she'll be happy. But she did that in the beginning, but now she understands what vegan means, because a lot of people don't even know what vegan really means. So she didn't really get it at first. So I didn't want to, you know, be rude to her. So I ate it a little bit. But so, you know, it doesn't have to be all or nothing thing. Like, because she would be like, is this bread vegan? Can you have bread? I'm like, yeah, bread is usually vegan. Yeah, it is. She's like, can you have like pasta? I'm like, yeah, pasta's vegan. So, but I would highly recommend those documentaries that I mentioned. Game Changers is a really good one. It's a documentary, but it's not boring at all. It's not just like a whole bunch of interviews pieced together. It's really good. And it's good for guys to watch too, because it starts off with like an MMA, like, you know, fighters fighting each other. And then they did a whole study with these fighters where they had one group eat like regular, or I hate to say regular because vegan food's regular too, but it had like them eat non-vegan food, and then another group eat vegan food. And then they tested their blood, and the blood with the vegan food was a lot better, and it was like cleaner. Like you could even see it, like it was the different layers of the blood, and the top layer, it was nice and clear, the fatty part, and the other blood was like all cloudy. And the doctors, you know, took all of their, you know, levels and stuff, and in just the short amount of time that they had been vegan, their levels were much better. And the vegan group was like, they couldn't believe it too. They were like, oh, so we're going to get to eat good food too, just like them. They're getting to eat burritos. Do we get to eat? I thought we were going to eat a salad. we get to eat burritos too. And like, oh yeah, you're just gonna have vegan burritos. So with like rice and beans and guacamole and salsa and all that stuff is already vegan. So so that's a really good one, the Game Changers. And you know, just try it and you know, incorporate a little bit of more vegetables into your diet, and that always can't really hurt. And fruits are always vegan. Everybody loves fruits. Kids love fruit. And that's another thing too, is that there's been um, a lot of research on whether humans are meant to be vegan or not. And a lot of people would say that humans are omnivores, which, yeah, you know, we can eat both, you know, a mixture of fruits, or, I mean, you know, vegetables and meat. But we do have a lot of characteristics of herbivores. We see in color, which helps us determine whether a fruit is ripe or not. Carnivores can't see in color because they, you know, we have fingers perfect for picking the fruit. You know, one of our closest relatives, chimpanzees, they're what they call frugivores, and they eat mostly fruit, which makes sense because it's, you know, it's enticing. You don't need to cook it. It's sweet. You know, we can pick it, like I said, with our fingers. So there's a lot of good research about that. But so anyway, I really am glad that I went vegan, and it's helped a lot with everything. So I would encourage everybody to just try it. And if you don't want to say you're vegan, you don't have to say the V word. You can just say, you know, you're eating more vegetables or whatever. But it's really one of the best things. Plant-based, yeah. So, and they say that you know, everybody asks me how old I am, and I'll tell them, and then I'll say, but I'm actually in vegan years 10 years younger, because, you know, vegans on average live 10 years older than compared to other people. So so yeah.
Well done. You know, you're a really good advocate for the plant-based vegan lifestyle, and you're not
Oh, well,
afraid to
thank you.
speak up and speak about it. No, you're fantastic. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on my channel and to hear your story. It's such an amazing story, and I just love how something as tragic, but something as simple as your brother talking to a tree has made such a difference to your health, to your husband's health, even your mother's health. And so it's just been a win-win-win.
And I've had other people go vegan too because of me. And I even, on those support groups for the tongue thing, I put my email and I put my, you know, my social media accounts, and I say, if, you know, you guys want to follow me and just, you know, see how I'm doing. And I get a lot of messages from people who this has just happened to, and they're like beside themselves in pain. And they're like, did you ever get better? Because I can't deal with this anymore. And I, you know, tell them what I did. And so it kind of gave me a new purpose in life. So I try to look at it, you know, look on the bright side, like you said, such a tragic thing. There were some good things that did come out of it.
Absolutely. So. And you're helping other people who are now in this situation. I mean, I'd never heard of anything happening like this until I'd heard it from you. So, and now you're telling me it's a common problem. So you're a voice. You're a voice for healing others. So it's an amazing story, and I feel privileged that you've shared it on my channel. So thank you so much, Brittany. And for everyone else watching, follow up with Brittany, follow her Instagram, enjoy her food photos and everything else, and hopefully she'll get a YouTube channel out and we'll hear more from her.
I think so. I think that needs to happen. So I'm a teacher, so I love to teach kids, but I love to teach adults too. So I think you've given me some good practice. Yeah, normally I feel like I'm better at like writing than talking, but I'm getting a lot better. So
no, you're great. I think you're great, and you explain things really well, and you remember things really well. So definitely get onto YouTube. It's well worth it. Thank you everybody for joining us. Remember, love life, live free, and be kind to the #1 person in your life, you. Thanks for watching.